Did you go by Mike, Michael? Michael-Shawn? What do you want us to call you? First of all,
Mike is Mike, and then Mike Dugar. That's usually what I do.
Mike Dugar. Okay. If you want to introduce yourself, Mike, because people know who we are, but introduce yourself to everybody. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
As people can probably see by the jacket, I'm a Washington State grad. I'm from Seattle. I cover the Seahawks for the Athletic. Have been covering them. I've been covering the Seahawks for about 4 years now. It's my fourth year, third year with the Athletic, and I don't believe in kicking the football. So those are probably the most important things to know.
You don't believe in kicking the football. Explain that real quick.
I have a hashtag. I have a lot of hashtags that I use on Twitter to kind of like illustrate my football philosophies.
Yeah.
Establish the Russ is one. It runs anti to Pete Carroll's Establish the Run.
Right.
Hashtag Action Green Gang, which is a nod to the highlighter green jerseys that the Seahawks wear once a year. And then the hashtag Never Kick is another one. I just don't think that you should put the game in the hands of the least prepared or least used players on the field. Like I would rather leave my guys out there who,
Yeah.
and I've diagrammed all these things and spent all these hours like poring over stats and numbers and measurables. I would rather leave the game in their hands. Obviously, I'm not stupid. It was 4th and 12 from the 35.
Yeah.
You're probably just you're gonna kick it. Like I'm not an idiot, but I would prefer. I'm very much when the analytics community kind of figured out ways to justify going for fourth and all the New York Times bot that was like, yeah, this is like you're being really risk averse right now and when you should go for it. I was all on board. Like I don't think the game should come down to like the dude who plays like 3 snaps a game.
Well, I think Bruce would agree with that. I think Bruce
100%.
would be a big fan of not using kickers.
We get back here. I would totally agree with that.
Oh yeah, no, like not having. I mean, the Bears weren't going to win the Super Bowl in 2018, but I mean they were going to definitely
Thank you.
further than they did if they had not even a better kicker. If their offense was just designed to not need the kicker, that's what people ignore this. Like if you're playing to like okay, 4-4, just kick it. No, treat third down as you have 2 downs.
Yeah.
Your whole offense is designed differently. So that's
Interesting.
yeah. If the Bears were able to do that year, they beat the Seahawks that year. If they were able to do that year, they probably would have been able to design something around Mitch, who was actually a really good runner that year. Like think about you have 2 downs on the 3rd and 8, you got 2 downs, and Mitch can get you 4 of them on with his legs. He didn't have to throw. Yeah. So yeah, hashtag never kick around here.
I like that.
I like it.
Right, hashtag 12th man around there too, though.
Yeah, the 12s are that's not like a new thing. That's like when we got like the tech boom around here. It's kind of a newer thing. I'm not like a 12e type of guy. I want the Seahawks to win every game, but for my own selfish reasons. Like that way,
right.
I can read my stories. I get a raise, maybe. Like I get a free trip to wherever the Super Bowl is at.
Exactly.
Like all of these selfish reasons for wanting them to win. I'm not like an emotional tie. It's much more like financial and like self-serving.
I would not complain about that though.
Yeah, no problem saying that. Like
yeah.
Players go 16-0, so I can get a free trip to Florida.
Damn.
And that would be a great story.
So
I'll write great stories down in Florida.
Exactly.
True. So real quick, MJ and I are terrible at this. Welcome everybody else.
Oh yeah, welcome. I guess.
Thursday. Great man, great gentleman right here. Mike decides to join us. Thank you, sir, for gracing us with your presence. So that said, let's if you don't mind, I want to. Me personally, I want to dive into kind of the social issues that are going in, if you don't mind. I actually love the fact that the NBA, Major League Baseball, some players and whatever have decided not to play and have their voices heard. I think it should happen. I also think that it's time for people to listen. And Mike, I do apologize to saying this currently while you're our guest on our show. However, it's something that I wanted to say before, regardless of guests or whatever. But I wanted to put it out there. It needs to happen, and I bless those gentlemen that are doing it. And it's a great thing. Society needs to change. There needs to be changes made, and it's good stuff. That's all I want to say about it myself personally. But I want to lead with that. So God bless the people affected by the situations that keep occurring, and hopefully I pray for change, and we'll continue to have the conversations because, to be honest with you, they need to be had. That's it.
Yeah, Absolutely, Bruce. The only thing I'll add is I've been watching, obviously, a lot of the big name sports analysts who've been talking the last couple days, and the two things I've liked the most that I've heard is number one, I heard Sean Doolittle, who's a pitcher for the Nationals, and some other people have said this as well. But his point was sports are the reward of a functioning society. So sports are meant. Sports are a blessing. Sports are an additive. They are not something that we inherently need. And that may sound weird coming from me because I've said all the time during a pandemic, I'm like, we need sports. Sports is something that'll bring us together. We need to find a way. But that's kind of a different twist. And at the same time, the way it was explained to me is sports will distract us from what is going on, but this is something that we don't need to be distracted from. So in a time where we need to be more paying more attention to what's going on around us, I think what the Bucks started and what everybody has followed, along with in Major League Baseball, NHL, WNBA, even some NFL teams canceling practice today. I think that's fantastic, and hopefully something will change. Obviously, it's going to take a lot more than a couple games not being played. I think we can all recognize that. But I think it's very important that these athletes, whether they're white, black, Asian, Hispanic, whatever, that they're kind of banding together and doing this together.
Yeah, I mean, I would amend well, I wouldn't amend the Doolittle quote.
Yeah.
What I would say is that we have to define the word functioning.
Yes.
Society is really because what does that mean, right? Because functioning has always, I mean, the world works just fine, like it still goes,
Right.
not, but like, who does it benefit the most, right? Who
Yeah.
does a functioning society benefit the most in the history of America? White men, largely speaking. Like obviously, I'm not like in chains now,
Yeah.
but like for the most part, a functioning society is one that has uplifted, empowered, and what been beneficial to white people and then white men specifically. So I mean, yeah, sports is like a luxury in that regard, but I wouldn't even necessarily like tie it as like a reward necessarily for functionality, just because the way the country functions is like exploited by nature. Like we exploit uh, labor. We usually exploit like labor of people of color in just about every industry there is for the most part. So yeah, I wouldn't even call. I mean, it's functioning, yeah, because we're not like the economy didn't like take a super dump, but it got real close.
Yeah.
It's still not great. But yeah, but we don't need sports
Right.
for sure. And I do have to say I want to amend that too, just because like I have to define the we, because like sports is how like black people have been able to get our voices heard in a way that we just haven't in other like avenues. Like you can become like a really like successful professional teacher or like author or scientist or whatever, but if you're black, the way to become visible the fastest is to either rap or throw touchdowns for the most part, or sing and dunk. Like those are your kind of avenues to like getting the microphone to like project the loudest. So like in that regard, you could argue that we do need sports because who's going to listen if we don't have those people in those, you know, places of power with influence in that microphone? Sports gave us that microphone.
Right. And so I want to circle back and say thank you, Mike, for coming on our show and being able to talk about this with us. Um, while no, I am not a black man, and that's quite obvious. However, I'm willing to listen and I'm willing to learn, and that I
Yeah, I mean, the listening part is really important. It really is because that's what's not happening, right? And that's why you get strikes, right? That's why I mean, whether it's a teacher strike or coal workers or whatever strikes in the history, like it's because hey, you were not listening.
right.
Whether it's because we want, I think college football. I know I'm an NFL writer, but I follow everything that was happening with college football. You study the history of college football, and you recognize like why this came to a head in 2020. You combine the economic impact of the coronavirus with the health implications of it, with the element of like race that was like put on display with the murder of George Floyd. You combine all of those elements. The kids were like, wait, you guys are gonna risk us getting sick we're gonna be broke, and you're gonna be racist to us. Well, that's not gonna fly. And that's when you get like stuff like what the Pac-12 did and the Big Ten did. But if you research like college football, I'm not even like a college football guy like that. I just like the intersection of race in college football, and it tells you everything you need to know. Like this, you have this power dynamic here where it tells the kids, we will treat you how you want, and we will not pay you a dime, and we will ourselves benefit the most from your free labor. And kids just wouldn't stand for it anymore. Now there's kids who are going to play this year, but like the dynamics, in sports are just getting exposed. And even now, you look at what's going on in the NBA. Like they want the owners to step up. Like Fred VanVleet of the Raptors mentioned it. He used the example on Tuesday night. Okay, what if we're playing the Bucks and we sit out, and then the owner of the Milwaukee Bucks then like uses the political power they got. Something here. Right. If LeBron James says, "I'm not going to shoot another basketball until the owners of the Lakers end their relationship with the LAPD," because I'm pretty sure they probably use them for like escorts for the coaches and players and their buses and security at the arenas. That contract terminated that day, probably, or it will. I don't know if it'll take a day, but it's that type of. But that LeBron has to do that because if he just asks and he's willing to go shoot basketballs, well, they're just gonna delay. They won't listen. It's like, well, golden title. We'll think about that whole relationship with LAPD. It's like, no, cut everything out until I get it now. And so, yeah, everyone's got to be willing to listen, and not even listen to respond. Just listen, just hear. Just hear what we're saying. And I say we as in like black people, listen to what we're saying, because like we're not all making the same thing up, right? Like everyone feels pain, everyone feels anger. We're upset. We don't know what to do. We know what we want to do. We know how that will go if we do what we want to do. So more people have to be willing to listen, especially people who are white, and especially white people who are in a position of power. That's really what it comes down to.
Well, like I said, thank you so much for sharing that. And that was very powerful, just so you know. And while no, I've never met you aside from this. However, I will say I do respect the shit out of you. So thank you. I'm gonna steer this in a different direction if you don't mind, MJ, if you don't mind as well.
Yeah.
That being said, Seattle Seahawks, Russell Wilson, he made his debut against the Chicago Bears and made Brian Urlacher look like a fool years ago. But that being said, though, I just want to hear your thoughts on the Seattle Seahawks this year. How they're going to compete in the West?
Brian Urlacher really good at making himself look like a fool.
Oh no!
Okay, but Bruce, did you see what he did today?
Yeah, like if you should go to you should go to Brian's Instagram page. Like you won't be.
Oh, fair. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about.
Yeah. No, but you gave him a beach ball there, Bruce.
I did. He's like.
yeah. I'm on the field. Obviously, Brian's a very great player. I mean, yeah, it's like, but off the field. Man, anyway, Russ's relationship with the Chicago Bears is kind of interesting because that's kind of the game in 2012, his rookie year. I'll get to them this year, but it's always interesting when Pete Carroll tells his story playing the Bears. That was the first game when they kind of let him loose. Nope. He was a rookie. They was kind of just telling him, it was kind of like the Alex Smith thing, hey, don't be the reason we take an L, right? Like, that's fine. I don't need you to go win us the game. Just don't be the reason we lose. And then in the Bears game, that's when he kind of decided, like, maybe he could be the reason we win. And they won. I think they ended up losing in the layoffs. No, not to the Bears that year. They lost to the Falcons. But it's always an interesting kind of relationship there. And then he's only thrown like a few pick sixes in his career, and then he threw one against the Bears in 2018 on Monday night. Really, really, really ugly game. But as for how they'll be this year, I think everyone should be very worried about the Seahawks' potential because, like, they have a lot of elements of like a scary. Because if you think about like, I'm a nerd out real quick, but if you think about like all the advanced analytics at football right now, they tell you that the most stable thing from year to year is quarterback play.
Yep.
Right, like the most predictive piece of information you'll have on a team in terms of you want to know if they're going to be successful this year based on the previous years. It's quarterback play. Russ has been the most consistent quarterback in the league the last 8 years. He doesn't always been the best. There's been plenty of guys who have had individual better seasons than Russ. Matt Ryan had one. Cam Newton had one.
Right.
Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, 2017, I think. There's been plenty of guys who have had a better year, but over that time frame, he has been very consistent, and he is getting better, which is very, very, very scary. So I think when you have, who I think he's going to prove to be the best quarterback in the league this year. I'm actually very confident in that. I think he was already, after 2018, he was probably top 3, and then at 2019, he was easily top 2 most of the year, and then obviously Mahomes kind of went crazy and solidified the 1 spot. And then Lamar, I'm not really sure what to do with him. I don't think he's better than Russell right now. So you have that part of it. The most important position, they might have the best player at. Boom.
Yep.
That's there. And the other part, if I was going to build a team, I would want a really efficient passing offense and a really efficient passing defense. And I think now that the Seahawks have kind of changed their whole thing. They have a Pro Bowl corner in Shaquille Griffin. They traded a 5th-round pick to Washington for Quentin Dunbar. They traded a 5th-round pick to Detroit for Quandre Diggs, a free safety. They traded stake in the company, I guess, for Jamal Adams. That trade was so lopsided into compensation. They gave up everything they had for Jamal, an all-pro 24-year-old safety. So they arguably, now that the Ravens got rid of Earl Thomas, they arguably have a top 2 secondary all of a sudden, but probably behind New England. So you got one of the best players in the league, top 1, top 2 quarterback. You got probably the best secondary, top 1, top 2, on top of having a really good run game and Chris Carson, a really good linebacker core and Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright. The elements are there. The pass rusher will be a little iffy. Who knows how good the O-line will be, which it also goes into your efficient passing offense, to be fair. But they have the elements there to be the Seahawks could go 8-8 to anywhere to 11-5. So by week 9, we're why didn't we all know the Seahawks would be undefeated by now? One of those type of seasons. I don't know how the home field and no fans or fans.
I was gonna ask that.
Affect things, but on paper, there's a lot of potential for the Seahawks to just jump off the screen to start the season, and I think that might be what happened.
Mike, talk to me about DK Metcalf, because I'm sure we've all seen the picture of him with his shirt off, the massive man that he is. I mean, he's fast, he is talented. From your perspective, I have him as one of my guys for a breakout year, especially like you said. With another year under his belt with Russ, I think that relationship will grow. What do you think of DK Metcalf, and how successful do you think he'll be this year?
Quentin Dunbar, one of their cornerbacks, referred to DK Metcalf. He says he looks like Julio out there, and that's obviously a nod to Julio Jones. And it's something I've been thinking for about a month now. I've thought it because when I watch him, I see 6'3", 225 pounds, 3% body fat, runs 4.3, right? When I watch that run up and down the field and make these catches, I'm okay, this has to be what Julio looked like in year 2. I need to talk to some more people who covered the Falcons in 2012 to maybe confirm that. But that's what my eyes tell me. That's Julio Jones reincarnated. Maybe even better because he's faster as well.
Yeah.
So that is what I think his talent level suggests his ceiling is. Now, in this offense, I'm not sure he can reach that. Just because Pete Carroll is a run-first head coach. He's very risk-averse. His approach to offense is just don't mess up. Hold the ball as long as you can. Don't mess up. And when they have the ball, take it away from them. And you'll win. Right? When he had Legion of Boom, that actually worked really well. Right?
Yeah.
Marshawn held on to it. Earl Thomas, Sherman, Cam Chancellor took it away. It worked out really, really well. But Julio had one year where he got 200 targets. Right? That's insane. That won't happen here.
No.
And I don't even know if Julio led the league in targets that year. Maybe he did. But that won't happen here. Because of that, I don't think he'll ever have the raw counting numbers, yards per reception or whatever. But I think he'll have some plays where you just look and decide, you know what, there's nothing anybody can do with that guy over there. And I think we're really going to learn a lot about him in year 2, because what you're going to see teams do is put their best corner on him, which that took a little while to do last year. There were a lot of number 2 cornerbacks that learned real quick they couldn't guard him. This year, their schedule features Stephon Gilmore, play the Patriots in week 2. Jalen Ramsey twice because he's in the division now with the Rams. Patrick Peterson, who I believe held DK without a catch in Week 16. Richard Sherman twice. Patrick Peterson twice. And they play Buffalo, so you got Tre'Davious White on the schedule as well. That's a lot of shutdown guys that are going to get DK's attention. I'm really excited to see how he handles himself in those matchups. He's played a few of those guys before, but just seeing him in year two will be really, really exciting as he gets better at route running. And like you said, the timing with Russ is just only going to get better. They spent part of the offseason together again. They'll be better this year for sure.
So I will say I had the great opportunity to draft DK Metcalf in my fantasy league, and it was phenomenal.
Oh, look at you go, Bruce.
At the beginning of the year, it was kind of he was kind of but he came on towards the end. So hearing you say this is proving credence. Actually, I want to go a little bit more specific with it with regards to teams and the West. I've had the awesome opportunity to coach Jimmy Garoppolo in high school. One of the coolest kids, awesome guys. Ran into him over at the gym once. Great guy, great person, great whatever. But that being said, many people are predicting that the 49ers are going to win that division. I'm curious,
Nope.
though.
Nope.
I'm not saying that they are. I'm not saying that they are. However, I'm curious to talk to you, Mike, about it since you've covered the Seahawks, and obviously you have a great knowledge of the West, the NFC West. So, what are your thoughts on that? And I know you're gonna, since you cover them, you're gonna be like the Seahawks. Come on, the Seahawks. But at the same time, though, I'm interested to know what your thoughts are on the San Francisco 49ers.
I think that the Niners probably still have the best roster in the NFC West. Their roster is really, really just sound. Like their linebackers are sound. Their D line is, even if trading Buckner, it's still really, really good. Like, you want to talk about guys in year two. Like, what is Bosa going to do in year two? Like he's a monster. Their O line should be still pretty solid. You never really know how that's going to go. That takes a little bit without a preseason as well. So we'll see. I imagine that there'll be a lot of sacks those first couple weeks of the season.
Yeah.
Especially because defenses can hear now because there's no fans. They can really just communicate really well.
And defenses always have the advantage at the beginning of the year, especially since there's no preseason.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes with their O-line. So, but their defensive line is really good. Their defensive coordinator is really smart. I think they probably still have the most talented roster. But honestly, the scariest thing about them is their head coach. Right? It's not even that he's the best head coach. I'd probably say the best head coach is still Hoodie Bill. The second is Rob. It gets weird after that. Tomlin's really good. He's been really good for a long time. Sean Payton's really good for a long time. Pete's been really good for a long time. Jim, or whichever Harbaugh the Ravens have, I think it's John.
Yeah.
Have been really good for a long time. But with Shanahan has been really good at, and McVay is good at this too. It's just maximizing what they have. Like, no one's getting that out of Jared Goff what Sean McVay did. Jared Goff's not
That's
good.
true. He's not that good.
No, but Sean McVay made him good.
He's a Mitchell Trubisky.
Okay, no, he's better than Trubisky. Don't even, no. Bruce, stop it. Get that out of here.
He's better than Mitch. But, and I say that to bring it back to Kyle Shanahan. He's the scariest part of their roster. Because what he's going to do is, he understands mismatches very well. And, I think there's plenty of examples you could pull from, but I think a really good one was the NFC title game last year, where he just kind of decided, looking on film, that, Blake Martinez couldn't do anything. He's like, so we're going to tailor everything to make sure number 50 has to work. I think that's his number 50.
Yeah.
They were just running everything over there and making him just think, and that's how he mostly runs for, a gazillion yards, right? He saw that and exploited it really well. I mean, it helps when you have all-pro George Kittle and you got other good parts, but, he's able to take what I wouldn't call a top 10 offensive, unit in terms of talent. Mm-hmm. He's able to make that, a top 10, unit in terms of production, right? Because of his mind. And so I think that they still should probably be the favorite just because I think they're they're banged up right now in terms of injuries, but that usually evens itself out by the time it gets week 17. I think they should still be the favorite there just because their coach has proven to be able to maximize what he has. The problem is his quarterback has a ceiling, and he gets to the Super Bowl and throws the ball with his eyes closed. That's That's great. I hope you didn't coach him with that, because that was great.
Just
Yeah,
high
Bruce.
school.
That was all Bruce.
Just high school. I didn't even play quarterback. Shit, I didn't even play wide receiver. I couldn't catch the damn ball. So my ass was playing like on defense. So
Bruce was the meathead flying into the offensive line.
yeah, I'm cool with it.
No, but the thing that scares me the most about San Francisco is that, like you said, Mike, their roster, other than like George Kittle and Richard Sherman, I mean, they have really talented guys. Obviously, Bosa is ridiculous too. But
Warner's really good too.
who was that?
Fred Warner.
Yeah.
Linebacker.
Yeah.
Fred's really good too.
But you're right. They are just like overall really sound, and even Jimmy Garoppolo, he doesn't pop out at you, whether that be in physical talent or in numbers or anything like that. But the fact that they're just extremely efficient, that is what scares me the most, because the fact that they're so well coached, that to me is something that can transfer through a pandemic, through not having a preseason, because they lost 4 of their starters. I believe it was 4, but they were all replaced with really good players. So, like, it doesn't seem like they're going to lose as much, but I still don't think they're going to be able to hit that same potential that they were at last year.
I think they no, maybe not. It depends. Like your quarterback play again is the thing that's like most predictive year to year. Like Jimmy G wasn't bad. Jimmy G put up some really good numbers in some good games, and like I would consider him a guy that you win with, not because of. But there were some games last year where they won. Because I would say the Saints game, like Saints game, they put up points.
That was a great game too. That was a Monday night game. Right?
It was like 51-48.
I don't think it was Monday night because I missed
prime time. It was a prime time.
I think it was Sunday night.
Yeah, I forget what I was doing. I missed a lot of the NFC West games, sadly, just because they're all like Pacific time at the same time as Seahawks games.
Yeah.
So I have to go back and watch or catch the NFC West games in the prime time. But I just remember thinking like that's a game that they won because of. I mean, him and George Kittle.
Yeah.
But for the most part, Jimmy G's a win with, not because of. Whereas like Russell's like a win because of, Mahomes because of, Lamar because of. But with Kyle Shanahan's like, cool, everybody else is really good. So all you need to do is just not screw it up and occasionally save the day. And if that's all you're asking of him, the same thing that you have to ask him, like, I would say that would be like the optimal situation for like a Kirk Cousins. Like, don't win us 16 games. Just like everything.
Maybe win us 2.
Win us like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And then we'll get to and win like 2 of those in the postseason, and we'll.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, it won't. We'll get to where we need to be. So I think that because Shanahan's kind of set it up that way, and they've drafted really well because they stunk for so many years in a row, and made some decent signings in free agency. Yeah, they're scary. Like they got the talent on defense and the mind on offense. Like that's why they were so good last year.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask my last question to you, Mike. And it's going to be very generic. Who wins the NFC? Who wins the AFC? Who's representing both respective conferences in the Super Bowl?
Oh man, I would probably say the Saints and the Chiefs. I think honestly, you want to talk about rosters being talented. The Saints probably had the most talented roster in the NFC like 4 years in a row.
Yeah.
This year, I think I would say they still do. And then 2017 was it the Minnesota Miracle?
Yep.
It's about as fluky as you're gonna get of a loss. You get the.
I lost money on that.
Of course he did.
You get a fluky loss like that. In 2018, it was the no call on the PI.
Yep.
It's the Rams. Super fluky. They still should have won the game in overtime, but still super fluky. Kyle Rudolph pushed off in the end zone. They just keep getting hosed in the. They get hosed in the Minnesota Miracle, but you get my point. Like they're the best illustration of how random a single elimination tournament is in January. Like that, they have happened to come off at the wrong end of it the last few years, but it has not been for a lack of talent. Never have the Saints lost in the playoffs in the last like 3-4 years, and you would say they need to get better players. No. They have good players on offense. They have good players on defense. Their coach is not an idiot. Like he's a good mind. He knows how to maximize the all-time great QB that he has. He's got some bad luck. I think eventually that's gotta come back to. favorites. Andy Reid and Mahomes together. That's like the
Are they
perfect
back to back?
mesh. Andy Reid he's been a quarterback guru. Andy Reid has for years. Like whatever he was able to get out of Michael Vick fresh out of the pen. He was able to. I forget the white guy they had there. Was that Kevin Cobb? That was like
Yep.
able to put up numbers there. Like Donovan McNabb with Andy Reid. Like even before Andy Reid was a head coach, he was good with quarterbacks. Like even Matt Moore when Patrick Mahomes got hurt this year, it was like wait.
So
Where did this come from?
Yeah.
Side note, two of those guys that you just named are two of my favorite quarterbacks of all time, Michael Vick and Donovan McNabb. Although Donovan McNabb pissed me off back in 2002, I want to say, when they beat the Bears in the playoffs.
Yeah, man. I like Donovan, by the way. Very underrated quarterback, I think. I think he's going to have a career kind of like, I wouldn't say kind of like Dak because it's different when he played for the Cowboys, but like Dak's really underrated right now, I think, which is weird because he's underrated by his own fan base, which is.
I would take him.
Not surprised. Okay, Bruce, you'll take anybody with a warm body.
No, that's not true because I don't like Nick Fool's gold.
Oh, that's a good. That's a
It's
good
crazy.
one. I don't know why you guys didn't sign Cam Newton. I would.
Thank you. I wanted Cam. I totally wanted Cam Newton.
Honestly,
I called it into ESPN Chicago around here. I mean, it didn't mean jack shit, but.
Yeah, I think the Bears. So I used to have a number 2 with me, like that. Not a number 2, just my partner, beat partner on the Seahawks. His name was Aaron Finches. Shout out to Aaron. He's a Bears fan. Right, he's from Chicago. So every week we're in the press box, like looking at all Trubisky's numbers and everything, and I'd be like, dude, he's bad. And we would like talking to offseason, like, Doug, why don't you guys like? You should probably sign Kaepernick, but if you don't want to, whatever. But Jameis is there. Go get Jameis. And if you go get Jameis, you don't have to sling it all over the field like Bruce Arians likes to do. Jameis is probably a dude where hand it off, play action, dink and dunk, brother. Let it go.
Game manager. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
That's probably where it would work for Jameis in Chicago because the defense is already good, right? And then if you don't want Jameis,
I would say elite. Mike, I would say elite. I'm sorry, man.
Okay, let's see. They still have Hicks.
They don't have Goldman though.
That's
got Hicks still got Mack.
Yup.
Got Eddie Jackson still.
Yep.
Yeah, Amukamura still.
Yep. Oh, Prince. No, they cut him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if you look at the numbers with Prince, like it fell. It fell. I liked him.
Corners right now.
Kyle Fuller.
Kyle Fuller, Pro Bowler.
Oh, he's still okay. Yeah, he's good. I didn't know if he was still there.
And then they got the rookie Jalen
Samuels.
Yeah.
How did I don't know how we got talking about the Bears, but how did
Come on, you see this?
How's that linebacker working out? The one from Georgia, first round pick.
Roquan Smith, stud.
Yeah.
He's good.
Stud.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that defense should be really, really, really good. And yeah, if you pick a guy like Jameis or Cam, like you don't really need them to save them. They could be a quarterback you win with.
Their offensive line is shit though.
That's gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
Regardless of if it's Mitch or Fool's Gold in our area, if that line doesn't protect, you can put anyone back there. You could put Russell Wilson back there. It's not gonna matter.
Okay, don't slander this man, Bruce.
I'm just saying. I'm not slandering anything.
Yes, you are.
The O-line being bad is a problem. Yeah.
It is. Well, Mike, thank you for taking time in your evening to come talk to us. This has been a lot of fun. We appreciate you, and we'll be keeping track of you and your Seahawks throughout the season.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you guys.
Talk to you later.
Thanks, sir.
Peace, man. Thank you guys so much.
Sweet, and I'm going to bring Kevin right in.
Oh, we're going straight to Cowboy talk.
Yes, we are. We're going right into it.
Getting right into it. It's okay. I don't mind it.
We can talk about how you want Dak Prescott.
I'm totally okay with it. Still think he's overrated for the price that he wants. He wants the money that he wants, though. He'll probably agree with me.
Probably, honestly. I would agree with.
Man, dude, I can't hear my clings. Can you hear my for actual like regular work my like iPad going crazy over here?
No, I can't hear that.
Because I'm getting messages galore.
Really?
Oh, here's Kevin. What's up, Kevin?
Hey guys, how we doing?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Thanks for having me on.
Of course.
Absolutely, sir. We just had an amazing conversation talking about Seattle Seahawks.
All right. Well, so what we have with the Seattle Seahawks, we have the same old storylines, except like his offensive line's still bad in Seattle.
Probably.
Yeah.
Oh, we should have brought that. Oh, it would have been great to have both you guys on. That'd have been entertaining.
Next time we'll just do that. We had Mike Dugar on.
Oh yes, what a good dude.
Good, great dude. He was awesome. He was great. So how you doing tonight, though, Kevin?
I'm doing well, man. Just hanging out. No sports tonight. It's supposed to be Mavs and Clippers night, but that's yeah. We'll get to that Saturday probably. We'll see.
Yeah.
Luka has helped me out significantly in the pennies to diamonds ratio.
Absolutely. Luka is a saving grace around here.
Yeah.
We're gonna build the Dirk statue, but something tells me we're gonna hopefully have a Luka statue one day as well.
I would not be surprised with that at all.
Wow.
If he stays, that'll be the biggest question.
There's the question. Right?
If he stays. But yeah, that'll be interesting. Kevin, what do you think of the Cowboys this year? Give me the lowdown. I mean, got some. They wanted Jamal Adams, didn't get him. Are y'all gonna get Earl Thomas? What's going on? What's gonna happen this year? Talk to me.
I mean, I feel really good about the Cowboys this year. Definitely on offense, which is going to get talked about a lot because CD Lamb is really exciting.
Right.
And obviously, when we've seen this offense was really good last year. The loss of Travis Frederick does worry me a little bit. You know, the year that Travis missed with Guillain-Barré syndrome, they talked a lot about having communication issues up front. Having that year to work with Joe Looney could be helpful for Dak and the gang, but more than anything, and I'm not one of those guys who's like a coach killer and that type of thing, but the message had gotten so stale with Jason.
Yes.
And I'm a Packers fan, so I'm a Packers fan.
What?
Let's go, Bruce. You're outnumbered.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I'm a
Let's
Packers fan
go.
because of the Cowboys. It's a
I
lot
was
of
saying,
fun.
you're a Packer fan covering the Cowboys.
Yes, because he
How
gets
was
so
that
much joy.
When they called Des Bryant's ball not a catch, you probably were happy about that shit.
I was not. It was torture because I had to go on the air and on the Cowboy. At the time, I worked on the Cowboys flagship station, and you got to be balanced about that stuff. So I had to be really, really professional. At the time, and I've gotten over that now because I've moved to a different, radio station in town, and we kind of do more of a comedy show more than anything.
Yeah.
But I do still cover the Cowboys and work
Sure.
for the Cowboys sometimes. I work for the Dallas Cowboys website every now and then and do some draft stuff with them.
Mhm.
So, but I hid it for years. I was like, oh no, don't bring it up. Don't bring it up. They're a Packers fan. But,
Interesting.
yeah, at the time, by the lay of the land, the way that rule was written,
That was not a catch at the time.
It was a catch.
not a catch.
Bruce, have you looked at the rules? By the rules, it was not a catch. Are we talking about 2014 or 2020?
So being a Bears fan, Calvin Johnson caught that ball in the back of the end zone week 1 back in, I can't remember the year. That ball that Des Bryant caught there was still a catch. And I know you're going to say you're going to use technicalities, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But, sorry. Anyway, Kevin, sorry. We don't mean to bring you into the...
Yes, we do. Bruce, why do you think he's here?
Yeah, we came to talk about this. No, what's wild about this is I've actually become. We're not like like he's not going to be the best man at my wedding or anything, but I know Dean Blandino pretty well.
Oh, nice.
Who was in the crossfire of all that.
Yeah.
And just the most hated man in the DFW Metroplex for a long time. And then you meet him, and he's like, man, this is the sweetest man in the world. And I feel terrible that he had to make that decision. There's no wonder he got out of that position, because who would want to be that guy that has to make that call?
Who is it now? Mike Pereira? Is he the guy who does that, or is he still in the booth?
So Pereira does it with is on Fox in the booth, and Blandino does that as well.
Okay.
What's the guy's name? I used to know his name. It's on the top.
Bruce, look it up.
I'm looking it up right now, actually.
Thank you.
Once the season starts and we have to go to him in every game, you'll know.
Yeah.
But because we haven't had football in 8 months and the world's been on fire, it's really hard to. Some of these names have leaked
Little
out.
bit, yeah.
Like, oh, crap. But
How was that for you, Kevin? I mean, I know that the NFL pretty much got the best of both worlds, that they were still able to do I mean, we don't have preseason football, which feels really weird to say that football starts in like what 2 or 3 weeks,
Yeah.
and we haven't seen really any action yet because they've been limiting your guys' media access and stuff like that too. But I mean, during quarantine, all of that. How was it for you, like professionally, and then even just personally, like trying to watch sports and being bored?
Well, so opening night is 2 weeks from tonight.
Oh
Um,
yeah, it is. Yeah, Bruce said that.
20%
yeah.
capacity.
We're gonna have to. Wait, what?
20% capacity.
Where?
The Chiefs. The Chiefs are hosting, and it's 20% capacity.
Really?
I mean, I'm going to answer your question, MJ, but I want to say this about the fan thing, though. I cannot believe how many right now. Like they should say first month no fans at least.
Yeah.
I cannot believe they would take the gamble because the number one most important thing for all of these owners needs to be keeping your product on TV all year long.
Yep.
And you start having fans, I just don't understand the risk. It's very. It just seems like a very. It seems kind of irresponsible to be honest. But that's
Yeah.
just me. It's been fine. Like getting sports back. I got lucky again because my day job was being on an all sports station, and then in February I started at a new station where we kind of do a little bit of everything. We do sports too, but we do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
My focus is kind of on the new job, so I got through it pretty well. And I'm personally, I can. Luckily, I have the personality. I live alone that I can handle that.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who are struggling with being alone and being penned up. I totally understand it. I've actually handled it better. I've watched everything there is to watch on TV and that type of stuff. So
We all.
but I'm really, if you asked me if we were having this discussion a month to 6 weeks ago, I would probably be going, I really don't know if we're going to play football this year.
Yeah.
And college football is its own thing. But I feel pretty confident watching a little bit of Hard Knocks. Have you guys seen any of Hard Knocks this year?
I've seen a little bit.
I have not.
I've seen some of it. This past episode, I think, was the best so far. Well, I watched 2 episodes. There's been 3, and this past week, I think, has been the best episode.
Yeah. I'm not a religious Hard Knocks viewer, but I watched the first episode. That's all I watched. But I was like, this couldn't work because you're understanding the protocols that they were going by, the Rams and the Chargers. And then I haven't been able to go to the Star to cover the Cowboys this year.
Yeah.
Because they have limited the media presence there.
Right.
And they've prevented them from tweeting about practice and things like that, which has been interesting.
Ridiculous.
But everyone that's covering the team, though, is talking
Jerry
about.
Jones.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone covering the team is talking about like how it's been really safe and really good, and really as long as these players continue to do the right thing at home, then we've seen this in the NBA. I know bubble's completely different, but we've seen like players being held accountable, and like I think this is going to happen in football, where if a guy is not, or we saw this with baseball with the Cleveland Indians.
Yep.
And Clevenger and
Please
the
act.
other pitcher. That went out, and then they had a big team meeting. There were players on the team like, dude, get out of here! Like you could affect not only our team's chances, but our livelihoods are at stake here. That's what
the key. That's the key. Exactly what you just said. By the way, the only name that kept coming up was Al Riverine.
That's the one.
Yep.
That's the guy. That is the guy. That poor man has that job.
Yeah. He's been okay at it. He's had it for quite a while, actually. So.
Yeah, 3-4 years, right? So.
Was there 2017?
Yeah.
2017.
I just wouldn't want to be a referee really in any sport at all. It just seems kind of.
I've done some basketball. I like basketball. I think because
If I was coaching, you wouldn't.
Oh no, I would. No, I love like talking crap with the coaches and the players. I'm like, if you really think my job's so easy, then you do it. Like once I have much more respect for the NBA referees now that I've done like some high school games and some intramural games at my college. Like I have a lot more respect for what those guys do because it is really hard. Like they, even just in high school, they go so fast compared to like your normal rec game sometimes. And then you think about the NBA, it's like, holy crap, you got LeBron James sprinting at the basket. It's hard to process that. So just a little side note. I wouldn't want to be the guy who called.
If you haven't been able to tell.
What'd you say?
I said we do randomness here, Kevin. If you
I
haven't,
love it.
I was gonna say that's what his show is now, so he loves it.
we wing the shit out of this. It's great. Uh, but no, you know what's nice though about you and your perspective is like, frankly, while yes, you do cover the Cowboys, you are a Packer fan, and that being said, I think that you would be very impartial with your thoughts on the NFC East. Uh, the Philadelphia Eagles. I've heard a lot of good things about that squad. However, I've also heard some like people say that like of teams that aren't going to make the playoffs this year, that would be a surprise. It's the Eagles. So it's kind of like this it's very random. So obviously the Giants, I'm taking them totally out of the equation. What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on the division? What do you think's gonna What do you think's gonna come to fruition?
You know, so much of what the Redskins, or no, the Washington football team,
The Washington team, sir.
it's going to be a habit. I still do the San Diego Chargers. It's going to be.
I know it's hard.
I still do.
I do St. Louis Rams.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Tampa Bay Devil Rays. Still, they're just the Rays. They're just the Rays. But you know, the number one is what Carson Wentz's health, right? I am just very. I have some issues with today. Andre Dillard, their left tackle, out for the year. They've already lost Brandon Brooks for the year. So 2 offensive line starters gone, just like that. And then kind of coaxing, Jason Peters out of retirement. And those guys are supposed to protect our fragile quarterback. So I immediately have issues up front there. I do think with Washington and the Giants, I'm not comfortable giving them a chance.
Not at all.
Let's see how Daniel Jones, let's see how Dwayne Haskins develops this year.
Alex Smith?
I like some things they've done. It's in Washington, building that thing up. The Giants, they're going to try to run it a lot with Saquon, Jason Garrett's offense. You know what they're going to try to do. They're going to go try to win close games. I'm not sure they have the firepower to win close games. I'm not sure their defense is good enough to win close games right now. But what they're building could be a stable thing because they have started to invest in some bigger bodies up front and things like that. So I need another year for those two teams. I think the Cowboys are the best team talent-wise. I think the Cowboys having a fresh message from Mike McCarthy will be huge. And as a Packer fan, I'm not the biggest Mike McCarthy fan overall, but I think after for a 5-year deal, I think
Shut up, Bruce.
For a 5-year thing, at the end of that deal, you're going to be going, okay, can we get someone else?
Yep.
But I think for the next 3 years, maybe 4 years, I think the Cowboys are in great shape, both from a personnel standpoint, from a roster construction standpoint, and more than anything, I think from Mike McCarthy 440 points. Jason Garrett wanted to go beat you 24-21. He doesn't want to get in a field goal match with you. Like the Cowboys have the firepower to do that if the offensive line can hold up. Tyron Smith is huge, and the defense for 10 years they ran a 4-3 Tampa 2 style. This is what we do all the time. Sam Darnold picked them apart last year.
That's
and the week after,
sad.
It goes on national TV. Like, there's the difference. They're going to mix it up. They're going to give you 3-4 looks. They're going to give you 4-3 looks. They're going to blitz safeties. They're going to blitz quarterbacks. So I think you're going to see a more risky defense. You're going to see a defense that may give up some bigger plays than they have over the years, but they're going to get more turnovers than they have over the years. And I really think the Cowboys have that 11, 12, 13 win potential. I truly believe that. They're not up there with the 49ers and the Saints, who to me are the 2 best teams in the conference. I think the Cowboys, Seahawks, Packers, Vikings, Bears, if they can get some quarterback play, can jump into that mix maybe.
The Bears can jump into that play, but we'll touch on that short.
We'll flip the Rams. There's a lot of things in the NFC. I think it's Saints, 49ers clearly, and then I think it's Cowboys right there, and they can get in that conversation and be at the top tier of the conference. I truly believe that.
What I actually find very interesting is McCarthy's going from Hall of Fame Aaron Rodgers to Dak Prescott. And that's not taking anything away from Dak Prescott's talent.
Yeah, it is.
Frankly, I will you say it is?
Yeah.
Fair, whatever. But well, to be honest with you, I'm going to tell you right now, 20 teams in the NFL will totally take Dak Prescott. Probably more than that, 25 teams in the NFL will take Dak Prescott starting for them instead. But that said, though, it's really interesting that you actually think that the Cowboys have the potential to have 13 wins this year. Because to be honest with you, I'm totally like I don't think so. I don't. I think McCarthy is, and while yes, I actually do like him as a Bears fan to say that. Um, I find his unless it changed, unless like I don't know who the offensive coordinator is down there.
It's Kellen Moore and McCarthy. This was my biggest thing. I did not want them to hire McCarthy if McCarthy was going to call plays.
See,
Amen.
and
Amen.
that's what I was alluding to.
Yeah,
And I'm sure you could probably sense that. I didn't. I don't think that. Yeah. So if he calls plays, I don't think the Cowboys are going to be potentially as good as what you're saying. But like I said, I don't cover the Cowboys, so I don't know if who's going to be calling plays. But since he's not, then okay, that gives a little bit credence to what exactly you said.
I will say though, for all the crap I give Mike McCarthy for how awful he was the last few years in Green Bay, running that offense into the ground, when he had really good, really young talent in Green Bay, when he first got there, when he first took Aaron Rodgers and kicked Brett Favre out of Green Bay, he had I mean
Don't
that
say that.
no,
Don't
he
say
no
that.
no 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 no. Mike
You're
McCarthy
saying no.
Mike McCarthy kicked Brett Favre
I'm
out of
actually a
Green
Brett
Bay.
Favre fan, so don't say that.
I love Brett Favre, and Mike
Then
McCarthy
thank you for
kicked
your
him out of Green Bay.
services. Take care. And then Brett Favre was like, "I'm going to the Jets and taking pictures of my peep."
what
No,
a year
and
that was.
Bruce, let me finish. Okay,
Sorry.
but my point is, when Mike McCarthy had, Kevin, that Sports Illustrated cover of Packers talent, Driver, Jennings, Nelson, Jones, Jermichael Finley, that's the type of offensive weapons he has in Dallas right now. And so I would be okay with him calling the plays for 1 or 2 years. I think they could survive it for a couple years. By the time, I totally agree, by the time they got to that 5th year, the entire state of Texas would want him out the door, other than the city of Houston. They'd be very happy. But I mean, I think he could do it with that offense. I think the problem is the last few years in Green Bay, he didn't have the weapons to do what he was used to doing. And I don't know if you saw the article, Kevin, that Mike McCarthy basically went through his entire career as a coach and like just dumped 75% of what he had been doing and revamped his entire philosophy as a coach. So I think there are some positives there, and he could do well as a play caller. But I'm still hesitant for the Cowboys after watching what he did the last few years in Green Bay.
So I think first of all, Kellen Moore I think has the potential to be one of the best play callers in football, but he's got to grow into that.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of him getting call plays last year. And when he and Dak have a really good relationship, when McCarthy said that he was going to let Kellen call plays, I felt way better about him being head coach. I will say this: the NFL Network piece where he was in the barn with Jim Haslett and he's talking about finally diving into analytics, made me cringe personally because I'm like, well, I've been watching you for the last 10 years and not use analytics at all. It seemed like a guy who was doing a job interview, and you know what? Hurt because the easiest person to sell is a salesman, and who's a salesman? Jerry Jones.
Yep.
He loved it.
Yeah, he ate it up. Meanwhile, I'm a cynical bastard, and I'm like, I don't know. But one thing I'll say is interesting about Mike, and this is where McCarthy, I think, should also Packers skill position first round pick was Jordan Love in 2020. They went 15 years with no first round skill draft picks. Like Devontae Adams, second round is a miracle. He is a miracle.
Yep.
So, I asked our previous guest this question before we ended it with that person. Before I finished my last question, that's probably the way to put it. I'm going to ask you 2 things, good sir. First of all, is Aaron Rodgers going to end up on the Bears next year? And secondly, done. And secondly, who are your picks to represent the NFC and AFC in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, I still have a hard time going against the Chiefs. I'm going to answer these in reverse order. I have a hard time going against the Chiefs, and I truly just think from a build standpoint, up and down the roster, I do think the 49ers are the class of the NFC, but I don't know if Garoppolo can get them to the Super Bowl again. So my pick in the NFC is going to be the Saints. which
Yeah,
it's
the second person to say it.
Saints Chiefs. I mean, it feels like easy. It feels like a cop out. I still love what they can do in Baltimore with Lamar Jackson. I have a hard time seeing who's going to stop that.
Mm.
I felt good about Houston continuing to grow, but then they traded DeAndre Hopkins, and that kind of changed everything. So I'm going Chiefs, Saints. I know it's,
The coach slash manager is an idiot, whatever.
can we admit that Tampa Bay is a wild card? I mean, look,
Yeah,
Tom Brady was pretty terrible the last couple of years, but
That roster,
but he's got a healthy Gronk. Gronk doesn't even need his arm brace anymore. Like he is.
first him, OJ Howard. OJ Howard is a stud.
Yeah,
they still have Cameron Brate too, right?
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, all three of them.
and then they've got
It's
two of the
real
top
big.
10 receivers in the NFL.
Mike Evans.
Chris Godwin. Yeah, I mean they have the offensive firepower to go off.
Who did they? Let me pull up their draft.
They drafted some running back, I think, in the first couple rounds.
Yeah, they got another weapon. I'm sorry I'm doing this on the fly, guys, but
No, you're
No,
okay.
go for it.
I'm doing it too.
this is this types of thing. I have OCD real bad too, and if I don't know, I will not be able to. Okay, Antoine Winfield Jr. pretty good player. Okay, they got offensive line help. Tristan Wirfs, that's what it was.
They needed it too.
Yeah, especially with Brady.
And they're a wild card, obviously. That's kind of as far as the Aaron Rodgers things. I do believe he does not finish his career in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Unless he starts playing better. I mean, to me, Aaron Rodgers at 40 years old is not going to be better than Aaron Rodgers was last year. And Aaron Rodgers last year, I mean, I think in the end of the day, yeah, I'd probably rather have him than Dak Prescott. But you start having some questions about how long Aaron can hold up. And yes, they have to help him with weapons. They have to.
Their
I was
line's
so
soft.
frustrated with that draft.
What did you just say?
I was so frustrated.
Their offensive line's garbage.
You know, they've gotten one thing that they have that could save the day on the offensive line is Lane Taylor, who was out for the year last year, is going to step up and play right guard this year. And if he's 100% healthy, that fixes a lot of things on their offensive line. But yeah, they let Balaga go.
Yes.
They still have the best left tackle in football.
Still got Bakhtiari. They've got a chance to have to
Elton Jenkins. Elton Jenkins was all pro as a rookie.
We're gonna have a friendly wager, just so. And Kevin, if you want in on this, you're more than welcome.
Oh yeah, I love action.
we gotta have a friendly wager when the Bears play the Packers. And I already told MJ this. I'll buy him dinner if the Packers beat the Bears. I'll buy him dinner. Kevin, like I think you're a beer guy, I'm sure. I don't know. Are you ever in Chicago? Shit, I don't know.
Actually, I was going to be in Chicago over the summer. I'll be in Chicago next summer, assuming concerts are a thing again.
God, I know it was supposed to be a great summer, but hey, Wrigley, me too.
Poor Bruce.
Northerly Pavilion. What's that? Northerly Island Pavilion.
It's fine.
There's a lot of pavilions.
All I'm gonna say is it's fine. Like it's not anything. It's nice, but like I don't. It's fine.
Bruce just Venmo the guy some money for some beer or something if you can't see him.
No, I'm gonna give him a beer. Are you a Coors Light guy or?
I'll drink Coors Light. That's Old Faithful for me.
Just no Corona.
Although my buddies just started a brewery. The guys I'm on the radio show with started a brewery down here. It's called Rollertown Beer Works, and they're cranking out some delicious beer.
So what's really cool about that is a buddy of mine is actually opening a place that is looking for smaller micro breweries and stuff, and he's trying to branch out in that area and trying to find places to random like beers, like because you know how it is, and that's
sure.
So maybe you and I should touch base, sir.
Ooh.
Here's a Texas beer, that type of thing. They make a Rollertown Light, which is like
Shiner Bock, dude. Shiner Bock was a Texas beer.
yeah. But the Rollertown Light, it like tastes like Coors Light, but it's just a little different. Yeah, we'll be in touch once the pandemic's over. Hopefully, businesses can thrive again. Right?
Yeah.
Dude, hey, if you golf, I golf all the time too. MJ golfs too.
I golf now too.
All right.
I got into it. Well, I'll actually be very close to Kevin because my family's moving to the suburbs of Dallas.
All right.
True.
I'm a
So-
golfer, too.
You guys gotta go to Gas Monkey. I'm a big car guy too, Kevin. So
Yeah.
I love sports and I love cars. Those are my two babies. Like those are
And beer.
So I watch Gas Monkey, Fast and Loud, and all that stuff. So I need my fiance and I before COVID hit, we were planning a trip down to Dallas, so that way I can just at least go to the shop and be like, hey.
Yeah, Dallas. Look, it's a good place to come. Just don't come in the summer. It's brutal.
I can't handle heat.
It's okay. My family's gonna have a pool, Bruce. You can come swim.
Done. You heard it here.
Perfect.
Done.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys at the Hurley barbecue.
Done.
There we go. My mom, dude. If y'all came over, my mom would be in heaven. She would just start baking cookies and she would have so much fun.
I remember when you coached my son. Alright. This is getting weird for Kevin. This is getting weird.
Well, Kevin, thank you very much for taking time out of your evening to come on our ragtag little show. I appreciate having a fellow Packers fan to gang up on Bruce. So this has been a lot of fun.
It's funny how that worked out. I didn't even know it was going to work out that way. Man, Trubisky's killing it. That guy, what a beast.
What a guy. What a guy.
Jordan
you mispronounced his name. It's Truth Bisky.
It's Trubisky.
Well, that's right.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Kevin. We'll have to do this again once the season is going. So take care. We'll be in touch, and we'll talk to you later.
Yeah, let's talk Packers-Bears week.
Oh, we will.
I'm down.
Let's do it.
See you guys.
Talk to you later.
It's good stuff, Kevin. That was good stuff.
Woo. We did it, Bruce.
Today's been a whirlwind for me. I'm not gonna
Same.
lie. So, kudos to you, sir, for handling your shit too.
I got you. Yeah, it's been a wild week.
So I didn't tell you about this. So I actually purchased a nice little setup. So I got a little badass mic coming in. I got some other gear.
I got my new mic this week.
Yeah, it's very similar. So apparently, I'm actually trying to get a little official with this stuff.
Okay, I've also got the. I don't use it because I have the other part, but I have the.
Oh yeah,
No, I like this better personally. I think it looks cooler. Cause I'm like,
it totally
smooth
does.
jazz.
It's smooth jazz.
And welcome back to Smooth Jazz with Coach Bruce and MJ. Okay, well now that we're acting like crackheads, we're gonna cut this one off. No, sorry, inside joke with my friends. Anyway,
fair.
No, I'll explain real quick. My friends,
all right,
we have
wait, hold on, time out. All right, guys, take care. Crackhead MJ's out.
Stop it, Bruce. This is why we can't have nice things. But no, me and three of my friends, we have a Google Doc called Crackhead Quotes. So at a certain point at night, it's crackhead hours. So my friends and I get really just loopy.
Wasted.
I don't know.
You're about to say wasted.
No, I was gonna say weird, but okay.
Good say.
They might, but I don't. I'm an RA. I don't drink. Bruce, don't look at me like that. Bruce, stop it. I will remove you from this Zoom meeting.
I'm not concerned about the RA thing.
Oh.
Mr. Hurley, your son is amazing. He does great things.
I will remove you. Oh, where'd you go, Bruce? Wait, I just clicked off Zoom. Where'd you go? There you are. Okay.
I've been here. It's okay.
But yeah, anyway, that's the.
Well, I got a monitor too, by the way.
Oh, you did?
I got a nice little monitor set up too.
Let's go. We love to see it.
And it's oscillating, so I can actually pull it forward, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
Ooh.
So we're doing official stuff soon.
We are. We're very official now. We both have a big boy setup.
Speaking of t-shirts have arrived.
Yes.
We're getting the prints on them, and we're gonna bust them out to all of our listeners, all the 25 of them.
Oh yeah.
And hey, we're gonna continue pushing. So let's keep going. Let's keep having fun. And hey, so I guess we're ending this, huh?
I think so. Yeah.
Well, thank you, MJ. Appreciate it. You busted your ass.
Bruce.
You worked hard, and as always, it's been a pleasure, sir.
Absolutely. Talk to you later, everybody, and we'll be back next week with a lot more football, probably.
Yes, sir. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.